Good morning to all the children and most importantly, Sanjana ma'am. Warm welcome to Sri Prakash ma'am. Yeah, I'm sure children, on behalf of all of us, let us welcome Sanjana ma'am. I'm sure you know ma'am is an integral part of Amar Chitra Katha and the world of imagination, I think, which every kid dreams and rather enjoys. I think all of us, right from our childhood, we know. So we are very, very fortunate that ma'am is amongst us today, and that too on this special occasion, right? I think it's going to remain forever in the memories of all the Prakashites. Ma'am, when I say Prakashites, I mean each and every person, part and parcel of this family. All of us, our teachers, students, and all of us here, ma'am. And we would like to start the session, ma'am. Nandini, right, who's going to
Yes, ma'am.
welcome you, ma'am. So may I request Nandini Das to introduce ma'am to all of us. Nandini, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, let's start it.
Reading opens the whole world to you as it gives wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and life to everything. With this, namaste to all present here. National Reading Day is celebrated to honor the life and works of P.N. Panikkar, father of India's library movement from Kerala. He not only initiated libraries in his home state, but also was responsible for the cultural movement to advocate reading in the state of Kerala. He was dedicated to the improvement of society through the only true tool, education. He started the Sanatana Dharmam library as a teacher in his hometown. The success of his endeavor multiplies. He had set up Travancore Library Association, and as many as 47 rural libraries were part of the association. Read and Grow slogan epitomized the importance of books in a person's life. To commemorate this legend, we have with us renowned personality Miss Sanjana Kapoor. We are grateful to have you, ma'am. Miss Sanjana Kapoor is a writer, an associate editor, and online project manager at Amar Chitra Katha. She has been involved in script writing and editing comic books. She has written several children's illustrated books, comic books, and picture books. She has worked on an online role-playing game called Legend of Katha and also has created and conducted Amar Chitra Katha quizzes at Comic Con India, schools and multitude of events over the years. Ma'am enjoys interacting with the children and has conducted n number of workshops and storytelling sessions in various schools. This passion of her always leads her on the lookout for new stories to tell her and never tires of telling people that she writes comics for a living. We are very glad to have you, ma'am. I request ma'am to lead this session now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nandini. That was really nice. And thank you for calling me here. It's really, I'm very, very excited because 2 days back, when I was told by my editor that will you go and talk to these kids about reading and it's National Reading Day, will you talk to them about books and reading? And I said, that sounds like something that I would love doing. And I immediately said yes, because books and reading, and for me, where I go way back, and it is something that I have grown up with. It is something that has always been a part of my life, and I want to begin with telling you that I wasn't the best student when I was in school. Like, I was like, math, science is it's too much for me. I would love the stories behind what the scientists, how they reached there. I would love what the story of Ramanujan instead of what his mathematics was, because I just felt that the stories behind the people and how they reached there was a lot more fascinating than the subject itself, at least for me. And so I began making things a little bit more interesting for myself instead of getting, because I would look at numbers and it would make me afraid. I wanted to run in the opposite direction. So, but words made sense to me. And that is why English was my favorite subject. I could do that. So I started with that. And my journey as a reader started when I would look at my parents reading, especially my mom reading, and she would have this fat book near her all the time, and it would have a bookmark in it, or she would fold the corner of the page and she would always have like a shelf and books. And my dream was that I would also be able to read as much as she's reading, because she would go book after book, and I also wanted to read. I was like, what is so fascinating about this book that she has by her bedside table all the time? And then I started reading, and I remember one of the first books that was fat enough for me to use a bookmark was a Robin Hood book. It was a story of Robin Hood and stuff, and I started reading it, and I only wanted to read it because I thought I could use a bookmark and I could put it on my near my table, and I would be just like my mom. But as I started reading more and more, I realized there was a full world out there. And I just, and my favorite books used to be, and I would play the books. I would become the books. I would start reading, and I wanted to be all those characters. I wanted to go on adventures and a boat ride and climb a mountain and whatnot. And I know that now, as I have grown up, I realized that I didn't know half of what was out there to read. I was reading a very, very small bit of what was out there to read. And for you all, especially now, there is a world of difference from when I grew up to when y'all are now kids. When I was your age, the world was very different. And the world in the last few years has developed a lot more than when we saw. It has changed a lot, and y'all have a lot more entertainment. We didn't have that much entertainment. TV, one color TV came just as we were think. There's a lot that has changed. And I know that y'all have so much more to do. Y'all have movies, y'all have all kinds of stuff to watch. You have games. So I know that it is harder. The books are fighting for your attention. They want, say, pick me, read, spend some time with me, and y'all have so many other things to do that y'all are not picking up that book and reading. And even if you are, you're always already thinking of what the next thing to do is, because your life is full of things. There is just that much to do. But there is an advantage to that. Because when I was reading, I just knew about those few things that I was reading about. I just knew those few books of Enid Blyton that I was reading about. I just knew those few mystery books that were given to me or in my library where I was staying. But y'all have so much information out there. If you like something, if anything interests you, for example, if one of you likes, say, playing video games, okay? Now, today, for you to read something that interests you is very easy, because there will be 4 books waiting which will be just like that video game that you love playing. If you like cricket or basketball, there is a book waiting for you that is just made for you, that talks about just about someone like you who wants to go out there and play, someone like you who wants to be that person. Okay, and it is not hard to find it. What I've realized as I have grown as a reader is that it is up to you when you reach a certain age, and all of you are of that age, is that it is up to you to find the book that you love. Okay, nobody is going to find you the book that you want to read. Your parents aren't going to go around and say, my child likes this, let me try and find the book, because there is too much information, and of course they are also very busy now. So it is up to you, and it isn't difficult for you to find the book. You choose any 2 things that you are interested in, and you will find a book that matches, that you will want to read, that you can't wait to get to read. Okay? Now, here is why books are more important than everything else. Now you will say, but if I like cricket, I'll just look up cricket and I'll just see some videos that are interesting about cricket and give me information about cricket, or I'll just read some articles online and I'll know so much more. But what I have realized, one of my favorite writers, I don't know if you all have read anything from him, is Neil Gaiman, and he said this one thing that has just stuck with me, is that you can ask the internet a question and you will get 1,000 answers. You will get a lack of answers. You get so many answers, you won't know which is the right answer. But you ask a librarian a question and they will give you one book. They will give you one book that will have the answer. You will get one answer. You won't get a lack of answers, and you won't need to battle in your head to see what is the right answer and what is not. That is the power of having a book in your hand. And this even translates to the way we do research at Amar Chitra Katha. Okay, now the internet is so full of information that we don't know what is real and what is not real. Especially when you're talking about folk tales or mythology, there are so many versions out there that you're not sure what you're reading is right or not. So for us also, when we are researching, books is the end answer. If it is in a book, and a book has that story, or a book talks about something, then you know that what you're reading is somebody has researched that, somebody has spent time putting those words there, and you know that that book, what the book is saying to you is true. It is most certainly always going to be the answer to your questions. Okay, you can look everywhere, but you're finally going to find an answer right there in a book, in the pages of a book. And then, which is why when we are also researching, we always finally go back to a book. You may think that it has become easier for us to write comics, but we still go to libraries, we still meet people, and that is the only way for us to write a comic and finally get the answers to things. Okay? Which is why a book becomes so important. And what a book also does is makes it a story, makes it a world that you can go into. Now, for example, Uncle Pai. I don't know if you all know who Uncle Pai is. Uncle Pai is who started Amar Chitra Katha and Tinkle. He is the one who decided that he wanted to tell the stories from India to all of you kids, and started Amar Chitra Katha more 54 years back, a long time before even I was born. And he started Amar Chitra Katha with the sole mission of telling a story. And if you think that the power of a story is not good enough, I'm going to tell you a little story about what he once did. He once decided that he was going to go to a school like yours, and he would tell the principal, and he took a bunch of Amar Chitra Kathas with him. And he went to the school principal and said, look, you have these stories in your history books, you're teaching this to your children, why don't you show them comics? And that time everybody looked at comics like, comic books? I don't want my child to waste time reading comic books. So they're like, sorry, Mr. Pai, we don't want your comic books. So he said, give me a chance. Give me a chance to show your children these comic books, let them read it, and I will tell you how this works. So the principal said, what's the harm? Let us do this. So Uncle Pai did a little experiment. He took 2 classes, and he gave one of the classes their history books to study. They were doing a chapter on Ashoka or something. And he gave the other class the comic book on Ashoka, the story of Ashoka told in a way of a story. And he gave it to this class, and he gave the other class their textbooks to read. At the end of it, he gave them all a little test. And I'm sure you all can just guess, but which class did better? The class that read the story and the book of Ashoka did a lot better. They knew all the answers as compared to the ones who had studied their textbooks. This just goes to show that if you turn anything into a story, if you make anything into a book that is more than just facts and figures and is more than just what you're reading, it will impact you so much more than just reading it for the heck of reading. I know everybody says, go study, go do this. Why don't you spend more time studying? Why don't you do this? But you really can find a lot more to read and stuff that you like that will only help you grow as people. Okay. Now, when I say this, what does it mean, grow as people? That's so vague, man. What are you even saying? So the thing is, books, I have realized, are 2 very important things. Books and reading become windows and mirrors to various, they are windows and they are mirrors. Now, when I say windows is, what do you use a window for? You look in and you look out of a window into something else. Okay. Books are a window into somebody else's life, somebody else's world, some other world. And it develops so much understanding of the world in you that I cannot tell you how much it has helped me grow as a person in just the last 10 years. Forget what I've done before that. I've been working with Amar Chitrikatha for 13 years now. This was my first job after college, and I've been doing this for 13 years. But it has reading books in just the last 10 years has helped me grow as a person so much that nothing else could have done this. Nothing else. And it becomes a window for me. If you want to know anything happening about anywhere in the world and you don't understand the situation, you don't know why this country is fighting with this country, or why there is a conflict or something happening over there, you can read a book that will tell you and take you there for you to understand and get a peek into that world, to know what is happening, to give you the sense to think. And it really is the only way to know. You can, I'm sure, watch a movie on it, but a movie will show you everything. It leaves nothing for you to interpret. But whereas a book, when you're reading it, you're putting a little bit of yourself into that and becoming one when you're reading and exchanging words and ideas with that book. And that becomes a window into so much more than just your world, your school, your house. It takes you to so much more. And it is, at some point, it becomes your responsibility to find the right book, to find the correct books to read. It becomes you are responsible for what, the creators are responsible for what they are creating. But it is for you all to see that how can I make this myself so much better than just, going to school, talking with my friends, and why can't I find a more thing? You have a conversation with a friend, or you have a conversation with your parents, or you watch something on the news. Instead of trying to understand and make guesses of what is happening, find yourself a book that you can read, which will give you a world of answers and make you want to go on to the next one. From the first book that you read, it will make you want to go on to the next one. The second thing that the books do is they are mirrors. They are mirrors to seeing yourself in them. And this is particularly a very, very important thing. I'll tell you why. Now, when I was growing up and I was, say, teenager, I was in 11th standard, is when the Harry Potter books came out. And I'm sure you all have also read Harry Potter. And the Harry Potter books came out and I started reading them. And I cannot tell you how excited I was when I read the name Parvati Patil in the book. Because that Parvati Patil in the book and Padma were people who I knew. They were people who were from, they sounded like, their names sounded like someone I could have met, And that gave me so much confidence that I belong in this world. I belong to this wonderful place that everybody across the world is reading. And it really brings you and makes you feel like you're part of this entire place, and nothing else can do that. It's just those two words. It's just that name. But it can make you feel like I have seen myself. This might be me. I have the potential to do all of these things if this person in the book is doing it. And I know that the power of words can be so much, is because now, of course, my parents maybe also did not have that much information. We have a lot more information. So I have a 3-year-old son. Okay. And I'm making it a point that the books that he reads are not only about John and Daisy, but are about people that he knows. about, the book is about their mama and mother and father in the book, for example, are not called mom and dad, but they are called amma and appa, because that is how we call our parents. And there is a difference when you read a book which has a bit of you in it. And there are so many wonderful books being written right now. You all are very, very lucky to be here right now, to be in a space where you have the privilege to get that book for yourself. There are so many kids who, one, don't know and don't have access to reading. You have access to reading. You have access to listening to someone like me. You have access to logging onto your computer to come here and hear. You have access to your schools. There are so many kids who don't. And for you, it becomes a space where it is your responsibility to find and read more, to educate yourselves, to become people who can do all of this, who can, because you have the power to do it. You don't know how lucky you are to have this power. And I know that it is a lot of responsibility to put on you, because you all are right now having fun. Have all the fun that you want to. But also remember that you all have that privilege to have that fun. You all have that privilege to enjoy, sit and enjoy a book. You have the privilege, whenever the world becomes a little better and we can go out again and it's not all gloom and doom outside, you can go back out to a library and pick up a book. But you must do that, because I'm telling you that the right book can change the way you look at things. And it can truly do wonders to your self-esteem, to you thing. And I'll be happy to, if y'all are stuck with what to read, I'll be happy to help you find that book. You tell me 2 things that y'all are greatly in love with, and I'll find you the book that you should read. Okay? So books become mirrors to who we are, and it's a very empowering thing to see yourself in something that you've not written. Now, one of the other things that I wanted to definitely talk to you all about is what a book means to me as a writer. Okay, now you all get the book when you get the book when it's printed, all done and ready. But the amount of work and the amount of dedication that goes into producing that book is immense. Okay, somebody working on that book, it starts with the writer. It starts with someone who decides that they want to tell this story. Okay, and you decide you want to tell this story, and you start writing it. Then it goes to an editor and a publisher. They look at it and they say, do I think that the kids today want to read this story? Do I think that adults would be interested in this story? Is this book making any sense? They decide that they want to do something with it. They say, okay, we'll publish a book. Then they start editing it. It takes a process to make the words as perfect as they can be, to put it all together, to make that story sound as wonderful as it can possibly be. And then from there, it goes into the printing, it goes into creating, it goes into a person who is in charge of sales looks at it. You tell that person who's going to sell your book what it is that will make it so wonderful, why it is so beautiful for you to read, and all of that. And then it reaches a shop or it reaches online now, and we order it and we say, this sounds interesting, and let us read it. But the amount of work and the amount of love that goes into writing those words is a lot more than just what it seems. And this is something that I have learned to me in the last 10 years. For me, a book, who is actually writing a book is something that I never even looked at. Now, if you are a reluctant reader, you're saying this person is talking about books and all, but really I have already been spending time reading my textbooks, and I've already spent time looking at stories in my English textbook, and I've finished. I don't want to read more. Why are they telling me to read more? for people who are not interested in reading, and it doesn't sound like something that is so exciting, read a comic book, read a picture book. I have read, you may think that picture books are for little kids, but they are not. I realized that picture books are something that is for all age groups. It is something that uh, you can read at any time. And there are some really nice. There is a picture book about the conflict in Kashmir. There is a picture book about the environment. There is a picture book about anything, you name it. There will be a picture book about it that you can read. There is a picture book about the scientist Anna Mani. Does anybody know Anna Mani? No? So Anna Mani is the first female meteorologist. Okay, we did a comic also on her a year back. And just reading that picture book, it was the first time, and I don't blame you for not knowing, because our schools don't teach us about these people. They don't tell us about all these people, which is why it is your responsibility to read those books, to grow up with knowing who these women are. And she was the first first woman meteorologist, and her story is really fun. Her story is really nice, and so much so that she was a reader. Her story begins with being a reader. She wanted. She grew up. She was in a family, and it was her 10th birthday, and she had finished reading all the books in Malayalam, and she did not know now she wanted to read the English books. So she went to school, she taught herself English, and she then read all the English books that she could find. And she wanted the Britannica encyclopedias. And her father, on her 10th birthday, it was tradition that they would buy all the girls in their house gold earrings. And her father and mother bought her earrings like they had bought all the other girls in their family. And she cried and she screamed and she said, "I don't want earrings. What am I going to do with earrings? I want encyclopedias. I want more books." So they're like, "But that costs a lot. Why would we spend so much money on you wanting to read some fat books?" And she said, "But they will cost a lot lesser than the earrings that you bought me. And though that they will mean so much more to me than the earrings that you bought me." So her parents looked really bewildered. They're like, "What is this girl? She doesn't want pretty earrings and she wants books instead. What is wrong with her?" And she said, "I want books." And she, of course, she was 10. So she said, "I don't care what is happening. I want books." And so finally they got her the books, and she read and she read and she read till she couldn't read anymore. She just read as much as possible. And at that time, for women to go out there and be who they want to be, and for them to go out there and say that I'm going to be a scientist, I'm going to go out and be a physicist, I'm going to go and study the weather, it wasn't something that is possible. That was that possible. She was one of the first people doing it. So you all have all of that already working for you. Nobody is going to stop you from doing things. You go out there in the world and do what you want to. But these stories, these books, these little snippets of what has happened, your history. This is your history. These are your stories. This is part of how the world is today for you. And you will only find the answers to these things if you read and read more. And not just the stuff that is popular, not just the stuff that is right there in front of you, what everybody else is reading, but look beyond that. Look one step, even if you look just one step beyond that, you will find so much of a world out there. And really, it is for you to try and educate yourselves about all of that. Because truly, reading and books there is no other word to describe it but magic. There is no other word to describe it. The word is, it's just magical. It's just magical to lose yourself in words and to find a whole world in those words. And yeah, so I really hope that you all go and read a lot more and read a lot of things, because y'all are at that age when you have so much more. I am afraid, I have a real fear that my list of books that I have made for my to read list of books, that I will never complete them, and I'll be too old to read, and it'll be too much. It's just too many books. But I'm getting through them one at a time, and it's everything. So yeah, I want to end with how books make a difference, and how for me, for example, when I was invited for National Reading Day, I did not know, and this is again would be my fault and nobody else's, is that I didn't know it was celebrated because of P.N. Panikkar. I did not know, and I didn't know his story, and I didn't know. So when I saw this poster with my face on it, and I saw this person, and I said, "Oh, who is this person?" So I'd heard of him, but I did not know who he was. So I went out there and I looked, and I made so many notes about him. And now I want to tell my editor, let's tell his story. If I don't know about him, it's possible that that kids out there don't know. Probably in the state of Kerala, you know him, but beyond that, people don't know what he's done. And he's done something so excellent. He is the father of the library movement in Kerala. I mean, that in itself was so fascinating to me. And I went out there, and I've already made a list of books that I need to read so that I know a little bit more about him. And maybe we can do a comic on him one day, and we can say that, here, read about him, because if there are bright, colorful pictures, then that all the reluctant readers are also going to read it. And so it is the responsibility of the makers of the books to give you the books that you should read, and it is also the responsibility of the reader to find those books. Yeah, so I really hope that on this reading day, and it's supposed to be reading week and reading month, that you all really make a difference in your library. Find 3 or 4 books this month for yourself that you wouldn't have heard of, that are out there talking about the climate, talking about the world, talking about various things that you all should know about. Yeah, and thank you so much. That is what I would like to end with. And if you all have any questions or anything, please do ask me. If you all later on want to make a list and send it to me about what, so that I can give you book recommendations, I would be happy to do that. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Feel free, happy to ask.
Yeah, you all can ask me any questions if you all want to. We still have a little time.
Ma'am.
What is the profit of reading books instead of saying YouTube or Google like that?
You can see 10 YouTube videos, you can see 10 movies, but you reading one book is going to give you the answer or the story that you're looking for. A YouTube video might be different from the other, whereas if you find a book, it is going to have one answer. The internet will give you 10,000 answers. A book will give you only one answer, and you're looking for one answer when you're going out there asking a question.
Ma'am, could you make some recommendations for the books which we want? Which we can read?
Yes, I can give you recommendations of authors that are there. And I suggest that before you all read books by foreign authors, you read books that are written by Indians. You read books by Indian authors, because those will have people and that are just like you. Okay, doing great things. There is an author called Bijal Vachanajani. She writes about the environment, and she writes about the environment a lot, and climate change. There is a book called A Cloud Called Bhura. Y'all should definitely read it. It is super fun. Then there is an author called Devika Rangachari. She writes about history and historical fiction. Again, the way she writes the book, you will read that book and want to know a lot more about that queen. There is something called Queen of Ice, Queen of Fire, and Queen of Earth. That's the latest book that she has. Great. Very, very fun. Then I suggest that you all also read Shabnam Minwala. Shabnam Minwala writes beautifully again, and her books are all about. One, she likes writing. She likes writing horror stories, but there are so much more. There's so much history. There's so much. They are set in schools, so a lot of the schools are, and it's very fun books. It's stuff like you would like to read.
Ma'am, when did you first realize that you wanted to become a writer, and how long did it take for you to write a book?
Okay. So the thing is that for me, I think English was my favorite subject. That's the one thing that I actually enjoyed going for the exam. In respect to all the others, it was one exam that I enjoyed writing. And I think that was the only exam I took extra papers for also, because the stories were so much more. So I knew that I wanted to be a writer, but somewhere along the line, I didn't know what I wanted to do as a writer. There's so much potential for so many different things a writer can do. I could have become a journalist. I could have gone out there and worked for a magazine. I could have gone out there and worked for, I don't know, a website. There are so many things that a writer can do. But for me, once there was just this opportunity for Amar Chitrakatha that came my way by some chance. And I said, okay, I'm just out of college. Let me say yes to whatever job I get. And so I went there and I started working there. And the first thing that I worked on was a game. I was writing for a game, which was just a game that people were playing. And I was writing about the different characters and the lands. And I was making up stuff. And I said, wow, I did not know I would get paid for something like this, because this is just like saying, oh, there is a floating island in the sky and there are clouds all around it. And I was writing that and I was getting a salary at the end. So I was like, this is very fascinating. From there, I was given the opportunity to write my first book. And when I wrote the first book, which was for Amar Chitrakatha only, it was called Ganku Gives It Back. It was a folk tale. And I had to write it as a picture book for kids. And I wrote it and it was not very good. I had written it quite badly. And the editor who was working there, she made me rewrite it again. And again and again. I rewrote that book 10 times before it sounded sort of nice and she was happy with it. But the amount I learned while doing that and rewriting, and it was very frustrating to rewrite. I was like, I thought I was a decent writer, but she's making me rewrite it so many times. And I said, okay, I wrote it, and the amount I learned at that time, and that is when I realized, and then I wrote my first comic book, which was on Saraswati. And the stories were just stories. I knew that Saraswati was this goddess that my mom had in her mandir, and she had it there. But there are so many stories around it, and she was a river. There is a story about how she became the river, how she carried fire into the ocean. And I was like, wow, this is so exciting. This is what I want to do. And somewhere in my first 3 years of my job, I realized that this is only what I want to do. This is super fun, and if somebody will allow me to continue doing this for a long time, I'll continue to do this. And so, yeah. And the first time a child came up to me and said, I have your book. I have written. So I've written another book with my sister called Ruckus on the Road. It's a novel. And the first time they came up to me with the book and said, will you please sign my book? I was like, this only I want to do. I want to just tell stories to kids and talk to them. So yeah, that's what I continue doing.
Ma'am, should reading books be based on age, or can it be read based on liking?
It can be read based on liking, but I suggest that you do not read a book that is above your age. For example, there are some concepts and some things in life that has to be the right age before you start reading. For example, I wouldn't give my 4-year-old son something that has too much death in it. Even if it is a picture book, and even if it is dealt with sensitivity, I would wait till he's at least 6 or 7, till he can comprehend that concept for me to give it. When you are 15, 16, then it's pretty much you're already getting the information from a lot of places. And if our parents and our teachers think that the kids are not getting their information everywhere, then they're just lying to themselves. So I feel that pick up the book if you think that it is something that you're interested in, and it is something that seems for an slightly older age group. Then ask your parents. Ask someone who you look up to, who is an adult in your life that makes the right decisions for you, and trust their judgment. That they say that wait for 2 years and read it, then you wait for 2 years and read it, because there are enough books that you can read even now. So you don't have to read those books that you have a whole life ahead of you to read those books that are above your age. So you will get to them.
Ma'am, I wanted to ask you something that I actually have a passion for writing stories and books. And one of my stories actually even got published in a book, but it's a very small story, just one of my stories. So whenever I write a story, sometimes I get discouraged by the fact that there are so many writers that are better than me in like regards to grammar or writing style or English. So I wanted to ask, how do you keep motivated even after knowing that there are so many writers that are better than me?
Yeah. Very good question, Shruti, because it is something that I am still trying to answer. And really, there will always be people out there who are doing better than you, but you have to believe that what you're doing, and you have to believe that you will also get better. The thing is that they are better because they continued to do what they believed in. They didn't say, oh, there is too much out there and I can't compete with all of this, so I'm not going to do it only. If they had done that, they wouldn't have gotten better. The reason that they've gotten there is because they stuck with what they believed in and continued doing it. And that is what you need to do. I know that 2 years back, I was not as good as a writer as I am now. 5 years back, I was even worse. I was still, writing was my main job, but I have gotten better with each year because I continue to do it. I continue to write in whatever way possible. I write wherever I get a chance, I write. It's not just the job that I've been given to. Now in my actual job, because I've become associate editor, I'm writing a lot less than I used to write. I'm doing a lot more of these other things than actually writing. Like I write a few comics in the year, but I don't write as much as I would wish to write. But I continue to write on the side because I know that it's like exercising a muscle. You know, it's like if you suddenly decide you want to play badminton and you've not actually played it every day, your arm's going to hurt the next day, because these muscles that are there for swinging your racket haven't been used. When you suddenly start using it, they're going to hurt for a little while before they start working. Similarly, your brain's also like a muscle. If you're using your writing muscle to continue to write, it's going to get better. It's going to work a lot better. So I suggest you stick to it, Shruti, and decide and send your stories out there and keep getting feedback. And feedback is don't get discouraged by feedback. People giving you honest feedback is the best gift. Even if they say, oh, look what horrible stuff you're writing, this is not interesting, that is good feedback, because you know what to do with it. You can make yourself better from there. You say, then let me write something completely different and see how that goes. So keep doing it is what I suggest if you love doing it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Ma'am, as a writer, does it exhaust you by writing or helps you gain energy?
On some days, it's exhausting because you've written too much and you just don't want to write. Whereas on some days, it is the most helpful thing ever. Last year has not been easy on anybody. It has been a horrible year. Let's just be honest. It's last 2 years and it just doesn't finish. The horrible stuff is just not ending. And I keep wondering, what is this sort of world? Like I know I'm bringing up my 4-year-old again, but more than half his life he spent indoors. And writing truly has helped in the last couple of things, because now I started writing it as like an exercise. You know, in college when we were writing creative writing, I studied creative writing for 1 semester, and there was this thing our teacher used to make us do, which I thought was very helpful, and maybe you all should also try doing it, is that she would say, take the first 5 minutes and write down everything that is going on in your head. Everything, just like, like vomiting it out on the page, so that you clear everything. Like, before you start writing on a blackboard, you duster it. Just put it all out there. Just write. It doesn't need to make sense. It doesn't need to be spelled. The spellings don't need to be right. It doesn't have to make grammatical sense. Just put it all out there. Write 1 page. And we would all scribble and write about anything and everything. And it really helped. It's like kickstarting your brain, to start thinking. It's like when your scooter is not starting and you have to, instead of the button, you have to press it, kickstart it. It's like that. So you just put down everything. And it's a fun exercise to do when you're feeling stuck and you're feeling like, oh, I don't want to watch. Nothing is interesting me. I can't study right now. Just take a piece of paper and fill it half. Just write down for half a page or 1 page. And it's really sometimes quite refreshing. It suddenly makes you feel like, oh, wow, my brain is suddenly working. So, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Welcome.
What is the average number of books you write per year?
Average number of books I write per year? That's a difficult question. Since I do so many little things, now I'm writing 3 different kinds of books. So I write comic books, I write picture books, and I write novels as well. So I've written half a novel so far, and 3 picture books, and 2 comics. So I'm hoping that will only increase. So some years are better. Last year was terrible. Did not do much writing. This year I hope to improve, and hopefully you all will see better things. So yeah, it's more of words. I think some years you write 40,000 words, 50,000 words. Sometimes you just write 10,000. But yeah.
Ma'am, where do you get ideas or informations for your books?
That's a good question, Sudeepa. Anywhere. So I'll tell you what. There's this other author now that I remember. He's called Ranjit Lal. Okay. Again, a very nice author. I don't know if you all have read anything from him, but please look him up and read Ranjit Lal stories. He writes really nice stories. I met him once at this book festival, and he was roaming around with a camera. Okay, and he has this really old-looking camera, and he was roaming around and quietly standing in a corner and taking pictures. And I was like, oh, Ranjit Lal, I was having like, oh my God, I have read his books. How should I go and say hello to him? But I went up and said, hello, how are you and stuff. So I asked him why he's roaming around with the camera. And the reason he roams around with the camera is because every time he sees somebody interesting looking, he takes a picture. And that becomes a character in his book. He starts describing, because when you're writing, you're describing how their nose looks, how their funny hair looks, and stuff like that. And he got his inspiration by just looking at people, by watching people. For me, I also, then I decided I used to at some point carry a small notebook with me whenever I would go out, so that if I saw something interesting or I heard something interesting, I would write it down or make a note of it so that I could use it later. That's how I sometimes find names for my books. Because this name sounds interesting. So I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Let me make a note of it. And then I give some character that name. But the thing is that you can get ideas from anywhere. If you watch closely and you observe it, then there are funny and inspiring things happening around you all the time. There are inspiring people around you all the time. You don't have to meet somebody really aspirational to find inspiration. Your friends are inspiring enough. They have stories, your mom, your dad, your grandparents. Ask them what their lives were like. Ask them where they came from, what they did in school. There are stories there that you can't get anywhere else. And sometimes all of those stories are inspiring enough. Yeah.
By reading books or by writing our own stories, in what way does it improve our creative skills or our talking skills or communication skills?
It improves it immensely, Monisha. I'm telling you that the kind of things that you will get from reading a book, you will not get anywhere else. And I know I'm repeating myself is because when you read a word in a book that you don't understand, what you are going to do is get up, look up that word, either online, either in a dictionary, or you would ask somebody. And when you get the meaning of that word and you have a conversation around it and you have an activity around that word, that word is going to stay with you forever. When you're watching a movie and somebody says a word that you don't understand, you're not going to pause the movie to stop because you're getting the gist of it. It is all making sense to you. From one dialogue to the other, they are going to move on and they're going to continue speaking, and you're going to know what the story is like. Whereas in a book, you will pause to stop and to think, and that word will stay with you forever. If my 4-year-old can learn the word cacophony from a book because we have read it to him, it is not a word that a 3-year-old would say. But the only reason he has been able to know what that word is, or beguiling, or anything, is because he's heard it in a book again and again. Yeah? And so what a book can do, nothing else can do. So it will definitely improve the way you talk and speak and write.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, how many books did you write till now, and what's your favorite in that?
Oh, okay. So I have written... I've written more than 10 books now. If you look me up, you'll be able to see the books. 1 novel so far, a bunch of picture books, and a lot of comics. But my favorite would be this book that I wrote, this picture book that I wrote called Who Stole Bhaiya's Smile. I wrote this last year. It deals with the topic of depression. And I think that is my favorite book that I have written. Which comic book that I have written, which is my favorite, is these stories that we worked on last year called Shakti, which are stories of goddesses that we wrote. And when I was writing those stories, I hope you all are able to find the book and read it. Shakti by Amar Chitrakatha and Women Pathbreakers by Amar Chitrakatha. The amount that I learned while writing and editing those stories, like a lot. I learned a lot. I didn't know about these women and these stories at all. And I was like, wow, women can do a lot more than I thought. And these stories are really fascinating. So yeah, those would be my favorites.
Ma'am, after which point of time can a person call himself as a writer?
See, I think professionally, you call yourself a writer when anybody publishes anything by you, okay? Or you start writing your own blog and it really takes off, like people are really reading a lot. And when I say publish you, I don't mean a book. I mean, even if somebody publishes something you've written online. And right now, there is a lot that you can publish. You can publish short stories, you can publish a personal essay, you can publish poetry, you can publish anything. There are a lot of people and websites out there that are for readers. Okay, that publish stories and poems and stuff that are for readers, not news articles, not thing, but creative writing. And so I think that any time you get published in the online space or in print, you call yourself a writer professionally. You are free to call yourself a writer. But nothing stops you from calling yourself a writer, even if you've written 5 poems in your notebook. You feel like a writer, you call yourself a writer. Yeah?
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome. All right. Thank you so much. I wish I could answer more books and more questions. If I can, and you all would like to write to give your teachers that you all want book suggestions and you want stuff of how to read, I would be happy to answer your teacher if they give me a list and give you a list of books that you all can include in your reading. Yeah? Thank you so much.
Ma'am, I think all of them are very keen on, probably they're triggered off with their thinking skills, what to ask. There's so many things that they would like to know. But I think this is a wonderful opportunity, as I said in the beginning, ma'am. So I would like Samhita B, to please propose the vote of thanks. Maybe small set of words.
Namaste. On behalf of Sri Prakash Vidyaniketan, I, Samhita Bogadi, take the privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this special occasion. I profusely thank our guest, Ms. Sanjana Kapoor, for her gracious presence and valuable words. I thank Mom for enlightening us with her treasured thoughts and experiences. Mom, true to your words that books create the world to go into and the mirrors that show who we are. We assure you that we will continue to make books our best friends by inculcating the reading habit within us. I also thank Mom for her response to the queries from the inquisitive minds. I would like to thank our beloved director, sir, for giving this opportunity. I would also like to thank the students for admiring the occasion. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. It is very nice of you to talk to us and very nice. And I hope that you bring that comic book on Funker also. Last time when we talked,
Yes.
Reena madam, we asked her to bring this Vikram Sarabhai book, and I think you brought it up. It
Yes.
is very nice, ma'am. And this book also it will be very good. And really, it's very inspiring sessions for our children, and I hope it will increase the reading skills in the children. And I hope they'll read more books, and we'll ask them to write down to us. And if there are any book suggestions from you, we'll have them in our libraries also.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for calling me. Really, it has been a pleasure talking to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.